Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video, I thought I would explain all the ways you can get SSR parts of mechs. Because I feel like this is pretty useful information. Most people seem to be just obviously focused on drawing for them via shipping, but there are several other ways to get parts. I'll also go into detail of how to concentrate the parts in shipping to get the mechs you need, but that will be covered last. So first of all, one of the more obvious methods is, of course, under the trade panel. If we go into trade, go under shop, there are various ways you can trade for additional items. And you get, for example, under arena rewards, the arena shop, you can trade for Twilight Fang parts. This one seems to reset every 16 weeks or 4 months. So yeah, getting the Twilight Fang, a light mech that has the Fang frame that increases your damage by 20% when you have two different weapon types in each hand, is actually a really good mech to have. Now, under the border FTZ, you can actually trade for a heavy mech. So the parts for the heavy mech are there. This one seems to reset every 10 weeks, so it happens pretty fast. My understanding though is it's not the best mech, okay? But it is okay. Like this mech, for example, right? If the hit points falls below 50%, you do have a 100% chance to restore 6% hit points, and it can trigger 2 times. But again, yeah, kind of an iffy effect. So not exactly the best mech as a result. But still, a free SSR heavy, there should be no complaints about it. And then, so those are the two shops that you can trade for mech parts. The next area where you can get mech parts actually is under Operation Center in dispatch missions, believe it or not. So every day when you send out in missions for intel progress, there are critical points where you will unlock factory tasks, right? On this bar up here. Those factory tasks will let you choose one of 4, I guess, companies or factories to get points in. Okay? And at the 300 point level, at the 300 and 900 point level, you unlock a common upgrade kit for any A grade ST part. But once you manage to reach 2100, you actually unlock the option to get a part of one of 3 different mechs. As for the 3 mechs, it's actually written on near the bottom left for each of the factories. Right? For example, I have 2100 points in the Innovative factory, and that one gives you either Glacia, Bluebird, or DS parts. Geek X gives you a Cephas, Aurora, or that heavy mech from the store, parts from those. Arsenal will give you Arcus, Wolverine, and Kong. And then Sparkplug is Double Sodner, Blazer, or Heracles. Right? So, again, because I'm using a Glacia mech, that's why I focus on Innovative first. But yeah, you can, just to be clear, this box will only give you 1 part. So you can only choose 1 part out of 12 options. Okay? And in the 3900 point area, seems to give you upgrade parts. So you can use it to upgrade any part that you have of that specific mech. And this one seems to be, you can use it 4 times potentially. So it definitely is useful, don't get me wrong, right? The ability to upgrade a mech part 4 times will be useful for sure. Okay. So yeah, so in my case, for example, I'm gonna take a look at my Glacia, and I actually have 3 of the parts at, I guess 2 chevrons already. So the third part, or the last part I need to upgrade is the right arm. So that's the part I'm gonna go for. So just had to double check that. So if I go into Operation Center one more, go back in, click on Delivery Network, I need the right arm. Yep, so that's the right arm. Glacia, open it. And there we go. So that one's done. The next level is to get kind of like the upgrade, the quality upgrade item. But yeah, so there we go. If I click on my Glacia, I can now enhance this mech fully to the 2 chevron quality. And to go to 3 chevrons, I'm gonna need, common ST parts, which is going, yeah. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so those are the 2 major ways you can add more parts to your mechs. The last method is, of course, under shipping. Okay? So, you might be wondering how I managed to get 3 parts of my Glacia upgraded, right? And the secret to that was actually the way I drew on these banners. So let me go into the details, because reading up the details is important. So first, every 10 times purchase will guarantee you 1 ST as well as 6 random parts. Okay. Secondly, base rate drop of any single part is 1.5% chance for S grade, but for base rate of ST drop is 4.5%. Okay. Now, this part is kind of important. If you purchase 38 times without obtaining an S grade part, and 1 ST counts as 4 parts, okay, the drop rate of S grade parts will increase. So if the next part is not S grade, the drop rate will increase cumulatively until an S grade part appears. After purchasing 55 times, you're guaranteed to get an S grade part. So pretty much after 40 draws on a banner, you should be getting an S grade part. That's kind of what it's saying. Okay. And lastly, right, there is that pity rate that they mentioned, how many times you have to draw until you get a guaranteed S grade ST. I'm just scrolling down a little bit. So here it is, okay? In SP purchase, there is a 60% chance you will obtain the current pickup ST's part. All right. So that basically lets you kind of focus on parts from a certain mech. Okay? And lastly, also worth mentioning is in SP purchase, the first time an S grade ST is obtained, it is guaranteed to be the pickup ST. Subsequent purchases only have a 60% chance of getting a guaranteed ST. And then if the obtained ST is not the current pickup ST, the next ST you obtain from the same banner will be the current pickup ST. So what that kind of means is, the first time you get the first pity rate is 90 draws to get the ST. The second pity rate is 120, and then the third time is 150. So the first time you get the ST, the 90 draw one, is guaranteed to be the banner mech. The 121, you only have a 60% chance of getting the mech. And the third one is, once again, guaranteed to be the mech itself again. But that's a lot of, that's a crazy increase in terms of pity rate. So the general recommendation as a side note is draw for 1 mech per banner at most. Once you get the mech, stop drawing on that banner, because it's not worth getting the off-banner mech on your second attempt. And it causes more draws to hit pity rate as well. Alright, so yeah, about the strategy that I use to concentrate my mech parts, okay? So this only works if you have 2 banners that you're drawing on. Let's assume I wanted to get an XR as well as a Dread Talon, but I'm more interested in Dread Talon parts, okay? So what I'm going to do in that situation is I'm going to start drawing on the Dread Talon banner. And I'm going to draw, let's say, 80 times. Okay. So by 80 times, it'll take 1 more 10 pull to get the pity rate. Okay. So at that point, I'm going to switch to the XR banner and do a single 10 times pull, because this pity rate is actually carried over between banners. Okay. So I'll do my 10 times pull, get that guaranteed XR. Then I flip back to the Dread Talon banner and draw again with all my draws until I get a copy of Dread Talon. Obviously, if you don't reach pity rate, if you get the banner mech early, then you don't get any attempts at this, right? You don't get to concentrate your parts at that point. because you're not going to risk drawing on this banner anymore in case you get an off-banner mech. But if you do hit pity rate on like the first banner, it makes it very easy for you to get a lot more parts of that banner mech. So the end result, for example, for me was I ended up, let's say, I ended up with 3 parts of my Glacia, right? In terms of Dread Talon, I actually ended up with 2 additional parts of the Dread Talon as well. And I did do a pity draw for the XR. Okay? So I did a 10 draw and I got a copy of XR. You know. So yeah, that's how I personally did it in terms of drawing for characters early on. So yeah, I think that concludes this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this useful to you. Nitro out.